Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit, England, and Eastern Europe. You know, I think we've reached a very important time in life, right, where we're seeing a pattern, right, and I think we're seeing the way how Caucasians has kept this world. Because look, let's go back to the Zulus. When the West went over, right, and they fought against the Zulus was chucking spears at them, right? But I know I'm going to use the British, but the British, right, had muskets, right? So they had superior weapons. So the next time round, right? By now they would have sold the Africans muskets, right? Because they had they would have had something like Winchesters, right? So while you're poking stuff down in your musket, these guys have got Winchesters, right? So again, superior weapons. And then you would have moved on to, so then they would have probably sold. They've done the same. Remember, they've done the same thing with the Native Americans as well. So then they would have sold to say that those to giving the Africans now Winchesters because now they've got the Gatling. You see, so once again, it's superior weapons. So if you move now to modern times where we are now, yes, brown and black countries, right? A lot of them have weapons that they can defend themselves with up to a point, but the West always comes with superior weapons, right? As it really is just that simple. They've always got superior. Once they're going up against black and brown countries, they've always got superior weapons. Right. So now we move to Ukraine, and we see what's going on there. And the West immediately has seen that, and they said, "Oh no, 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 no! We've got to make sure that the Ukrainians have got weapons that they can defend themselves with, not weapons that are years old, that are much older, that are decades older." Right. We have to give them up to date weapons so they can defend themselves with up to date weapons. Okay, if you look at the way how they dealt with, the way how they've dealt with all these Muslim countries over the years, they can always batter these countries because they've got superior weapons over these countries. And now, if you look at Palestine, right, there is no way, right, and there's probably there is in fact a worldwide embargo, right, that you cannot sell weapons to the Palestinians, right? Which simply means, right, that if brown and black people are being, right, murdered, right, apartheid's committed on them, Holocaust committed on them, right, you are not allowed to supply them weapons, right? Because you are not allowed to supply black and brown people with weapons, right, that they can defend themselves with against Caucasians. And that is what it all comes down to, and that's the point of the world. The world is showing that point right now, right? They're more than willing, right, to give Saudi Arabia all the weapons they need to murder brown and black people, but they would never ever give Palestine, yeah, the weapons that they need to be able to defend themselves against people who are committing an apartheid upon them. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks to everybody who signed up my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. So today we start with President Putin. It looks like Putin is saying to his troops, you know what, we're going to be pulling out of certain regions, but I have a feeling that Putin's just saying, you know what, we make it look like we're pulling out of these regions and then we start bombing heavy, just like he done last night. Right? This man, it don't look like this man can be trusted at all, right? Under any circumstances, you know. I don't know, all these weeks into this war, yeah, and the destruction of what we've seen of what he's done to the Ukraine, right, is just like, I didn't think that we'd see anything like this within Europe. Not in my lifetime, especially just it's quite sickening to see what he's doing, especially as they're just saying, what, every minute they're saying, oh, we'll give civilians a corridor so they can get out, and then they start bombing the corridors. Just like I think that is the Russian tactics that they've used in many wars. And obviously, that Friday is the big day, yeah, for where the new energy cost and all that coming. So we've got raises of like up to 54% coming in. So obviously, it's not going to be a good time for the people in this country. It's going to be, it's going to tear people to pieces. I just think it's going to cause the death of just like many people, because it's just like we're in a very sad situation. I saw a report of a woman lives in Westminster, right, and she has like she's down to like one meal, old lady. She's down to like one meal a day because that's all she can afford, right? And the flat where she lives, yeah, her bill, her energy cost was like £17 a month, obviously. So that means obviously that she's living very frugal. Right, which means she's probably not using her heating. She's not using the as little as she can. She'll probably be using the electric, but it's now going up to £79 a month for her, which obviously is just going to be completely crippling. It's just going to be it's not going to really we've got stories of people, yeah, who are heating up food with candles. I saw a report of someone who was heating up some soup with a candle, in the apparently the fifth richest economy in the world, right? But if you just look at the obviously, as I keep telling you guys, yeah, I'm finding it very difficult to feel sorry for the people of this country, right? After they had a chance, right? I can clear this all up at once as well, because some people have been asking me, yeah, well, you say this about Labour and you say that about Conservatives, so who would you vote for? Well, this country, right, missed a chance to have a really decent Prime Minister in Jeremy Corbyn, right, who would have, right, not allowed, right, these companies to put 54%, right, on your electric cost, right, and but let's put it this way, right, EDF, right, who operate over here, who is a French company. Over here, they can up their prices by 54%. In France, they can only up it by 4%. So, those are the type of things, yeah, that Corbyn wanted to tackle. Right, and besides, remember Corbyn, McDonald, and that black lady, right, was all working on like a universal basic income, which probably would have really come in handy right now, right? And what gets me about the people of this country, right? They look at other people that they need the basic income themselves, but they will look at other people and think, well, yeah, but I wouldn't want them to get it. Not people who are millionaires. Like people who live across the road to them, right? They look at them and think, oh, well, yeah, because that person's like working the benefit system, like they only work 16 hours a week, and like so they can collect their benefits, right? And that's who they're looking at. They're looking at those people and thinking, not the people who are saying to you, like like Lydia, Rachel Reeves, who will just say, well, no, we can't give you a universal basic income because people like me will get it, right? Because all of those people, yeah, be they Labour, the Labour who we've got now, apart from Angela Rayner, and remember Angela Rayner, yeah, she's been tamed, right? Because she said it as it was, that the Tories are scum. She said it as it is, and what did they do? Oh, well, you can't call us scum, even though. Right, even though they're voting to not feed school children, right, and or they're voting to give disabled people less benefits, or they're voting to make conditions harder for the unemployed. These type of things, right? They're all voting for, right? And and Angela Rayner calls them scum and say, oh well, look, it's because of people like you why David Amish got murdered. That's how they bring it on. Right? While they've just awarded themselves what, another £2,000. Right? Because they are not in reality. They are not in our reality. No way at all. Right? There's nothing that these Tory. Look, Catherine Fletcher MP, right, was speaking about the cost of living crisis coming up, and her thing was, well, people need to get off of benefits and go out there and get more work. A lot of these people, right, who are going to food banks or heating up cans of soup with a candle, right, are working people. Right, a lot of people who are not feeding themselves because so that they can feed their children. These are working people. Some of them are working 60, 70 hours a week, and the cost of living, right? Their outgoings is higher than what they've got coming in. So but people like Catherine Fletcher MP, right, who's so far out of touch, just thinks it's okay to say, well, you should make sure you don't spend all, get more work, right? Don't rely on benefits, right? While I personally think that all the royals and all the MPs, I personally think that these guys are just all benefit scroungers themselves. That's what I think of them. I think they're all just benefit scroungers. I mean, Boris Johnson, right, has proved to everybody in this country, right, that anybody, right, can do the job of Prime Minister, right? Because if you can do it this as badly as him, then we can just say anybody can do it, because because these guys have destroyed the economy of this country. That's why they can't help you with this cost of living crisis. That's why they just award themselves an extra £2,000 and just say, well, can't you get someone to award you an extra £2,000? That's how they're looking at it. It's your fault that you're working class. It's, you should, maybe perhaps you should have had parents that was more wealthy. How's that anything to do with the Tories? That's not Tories' fault. Just you should have. I mean, if you look at like the whole P&O debacle, for example, right? Boris Johnson is talking about a high wage economy. I mean, there's not much talk of like that now, is there? Again, but that's what they're talking about, a high wage economy. But I don't know if P&O got that memo, because they got rid of all their workers to get in people who they could pay less. So, I mean, the theory of your high wage economy is just, it's about as true as the levelling up agenda. I mean, they gave out I think they started giving out the fines yesterday, and Boris Johnson's answer to them giving out fines was for him to throw a lavish party for all of the Tory MPs, because I think that party was either thrown for all of the new bills that are coming in for people on the 1st of this month, right? Or it was thrown for so that he could just say to the whole country, listen, you know what, right? Yeah, Partygate, you might find it important, but I don't. Compared to the war in Ukraine, it's not important. It's compared to the war in Ukraine, Partygate is the actual parties themselves is not important, right? But then you have to look at the whole thing, don't you? You have to look at the whole lot of the corruption that's around the whole thing, right? So whether or not you think that's important, that's that's got to be completely down to you. I think it is quite important, right? But these guys, as I said last night, these guys are having a lavish party, right, with people standing up outside there demonstrating as they're walking in, right, with pictures of like their dead relatives, right, holding them up with candles, right, and people like Jacob Rees-Mogg just walking past them and just smiling, right, just laughing, just basically they're just laughing in their faces, because in the great scheme of things, yeah, the people of this country, right, are nothing. We're just like, we're just like the roaches. But even, the problem, right, with comparing us to the roaches, right, at least after like a nuclear holocaust, the roaches live. But we wouldn't be roaches that live after that. Right? We'd be those roaches, yeah, that don't have the coat, right, that can get us through a nuclear holocaust. Those are the roaches that we would be. Because that's what then people think of us. They think we're scum. That's why these Tory MPs can just walk past. I bet you Therese Coffey was walking past with last night, right, thinking to herself, you know what, I'm going to go and just bust like I had the time of my life with a fat cigar in my hand. Right? Because you know what, I've got like probably 2.5, 3 mil in the bank. So who cares? Who cares about the scum that's downstairs protesting us walking in? Who cares about them? Because those people down there, they're just scum. Yeah, they've lost their relatives, but who really cares about that? Nobody does, And then we move on to another subject, right? People, the lowest confidence in the NHS for 25 years. That's double the time that the Tories have been in. It's double the time they've been in. Right? It's only taken them, right, half the time, right, to make double the time. I don't know, it made sense there. Half the time to make double the time. Right? Imagine that. They've been in, 12 years or whatever? Right? And the NHS is now at its lowest point, right? Well, public confidence, that's its lowest point for 25 years. So that's double the time. Half the time, double the time. It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? But, I'm quite sure when you people voted, right, you voted knowing, right, exactly what you voting for. So I'm quite sure that everyone's made themselves conditions so they can get through. Can get through the 54% rise on your bills that's coming, and but in good news, right, Rishi Sunak has written to all of the the fuel companies, said to them, listen, you need to implement that 5p a litre, and you need to do it today. They haven't done it. But at least he's written to them, and he banged his fist on the desk and said to them, you need to do that. So I mean, that should help. Right, and I think we should really speak about some Brexit. Right, one of what's his name, Doug Beattie, leader of the UUP office, was attacked in Portadown, right, County Armagh, on Sunday, right, because he refused, right, to take part in any more Brexit protests. He's like, no, man, I'm not feeling that anymore. Right, so he's just like, so they just went and it looked like they just went and just I don't know if they firebombed it, because that's normally the way in Ireland, isn't it? They'll just normally firebomb something, right? But we did say before Brexit, right, that there's a good chance, right, that after we leave, there's that there could be a massive war in Europe, right, and the island will start getting really violent again, right? Now, I'm just trying to think, right, of because because all of this was Project Fair, right? So I'm just trying to think of something that, because like after the event has happened, and like it's happened and things, so I'm just trying to think of word that I could use. I'm going to come up with something that I could probably put on like t-shirts and on mugs, which would be good for the Brexiters, on mugs, right? On maybe even on socks, on the side of a fish tank. People can even have a little number plate made of the term that I'm going to use, and would be oh dear. So before, all right, it was Project Fair. I'm going to go with Project Fact. I've just made that up, so anybody who prints all that stuff, if you print it up, right, I'll just give me 15 or 20% on that, because Project Fact, right, is kicking right in. All of a sudden, right, Project Fact has come to kick people, right, as hard as you want in the short and very curlies, And you know what I say? I say it serves you stupid ass racist Brexiters right. You're getting what you deserve. I'm, I'm quite impressed with the Boris Johnson because I knew, right, that it was going to be complete chaos. I knew they was going to lose control of the economy. And you could just tell because you knew that Rishi Sunak is a damn the stick insect is a damn fool. He has no clue how to run it. Right, he has no clue how to run an economy. No clue at all. Absolutely none. How to run an economy. So if you're looking for Rishi Sunak, right, to help you, that's not going to happen. Right. Listen, the furlough scheme here is something that they had to do. That's what you got to understand. Right? That's the reason why he got it half right. Only half right because so much people was left out. It's only half right. But that's the reason why, because it's something that they had to do. Right? There was in that situation. There was nothing else they could do apart from just allow all those people to be completely fucked. So he left another load of people to be completely stuffed. Probably about 4 million people to be complete. But the others all got furloughed. So so it seems like it seems like he dealt with like probably 65% of the problem, and 35% of the problem was left out. But 65% is greater than 35%. See, so so it works out for them. It works out, even though it doesn't work out for the people who got nothing. But and Brexit has been blamed by experts as the key reason why goods exports from the UK have fallen by 14% in 3 months to January. And that was in the Express, right? And they say, have your say on this. So the Express the Express is looking for answers from you about the whole thing. But all of this was Project Fair, and my new word that I've just made up, Project Fact, right, is all coming true, right? And that's what's happening, and it's just for the people of this country, they're just realizing now, but it's just unfortunate. Exports down 14%. Right, but remember, they're probably not just talking about that export to they're talking about probably exports just to the EU. Do you know what I mean? They've probably tried to say exports, from the UK, which makes it look more global. But you're probably talking about to the EU, and that's right. 14%, right, is on top of the drop from last year, right? So the real figures. Right, what you're talking about in the 2 years that we've left, is probably in the 60%, more in the 60%, because in the first year they probably lost that 40 or 30 or 40% in the first year, right? So now they've got another 14%. That's just So I'm telling you, you're probably looking at around the 60% from since Brexit that they've lost. Anyway, guys, once again, as you can tell, I've gone way over my time. And I need to really stop doing that. So anyway, guys, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.